Welcome. We'll call the meeting to order of the Town of Lake Clark Shores Code Enforcement Board, December 6th, 6:30 p.m. Emily, would you please call roll?
Chair Paul Hughes,
Present.
Vice Chair Gerard Sanchez,
Present.
Board Member Ariel Hernandez, Board Member Deb Moody,
Present.
Board Member Wesley Cook.
Present.
We'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. The consent agenda is the next item, which includes the approval of the minutes of our October 25th meeting. Any unfinished cases now in compliance and any new cases now in compliance. Are there any changes, additions to the minutes of our October 25th meeting?
None for me.
No, hearing none, okay. Any unfinished cases now in compliance? Eric?
Yes, sir. All right, give me 1 second. Starting on page 2, case 23-0443 is now in compliance. Case 23-0496 is now in compliance. Moving on to page 3, case 23-0853 is now in compliance. 1 second. Case 23-0855 is now in compliance. Case 23-0857 is in compliance. On page 4, case 23-0858 is now in compliance. Case 23-0861 is now in compliance. Case 23-0867, I'm sorry, that one's still in violation. Bottom of the page, 23-0880 is now in compliance. Moving to page 5. 1 second. Case 23-0889 is now in compliance. And that completes all the ones that are in compliance.
Okay. So that includes the unfinished cases and any new cases in compliance.
Yes, sir.
Is there a motion to adopt the consent agenda as amended?
So moved.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. At this point, we'll ask any of the board members if you've had any conversations with property owners that might come before us tonight related to their cases, or any firsthand knowledge, if you would please acknowledge that at the time we bring the case before us. Anyone here tonight that's going to speak, if you would please stand and be recognized and sworn in by the board's attorney.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you'll give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Unfinished cases, lien imposition, case 23-0333. Eric, is there anything new to?
No, I did a reinspection of the property today. These are updated and current photos. As of today's date, I've still had no communication with the property owner. This is an estate, so it's being cared for by the daughter of the deceased. Since this case has initially been, sorry, since the violation was initially issued, I've had no communication. So the fine continues.
No communication since the initial?
Yep, since So even when I walk up to the door, what's left of the initial violations that were posted are still on the door, the notice of hearings, the orders. So no one is obviously going to this property.
Because it's still on the door when you went back? after a
Yes,
month?
well, for what hasn't rotten off,
Wow.
because the door is partially shielded, but when it rains,
Does anyone in our town know these people personally? Because I think this is the wife of a former judge for Palm Beach or something like that? Is it?
no, that's another case. This is the property on Antigua.
Okay.
Has anybody checked the property appraiser's website to see if
Yes.
there isn't a different mailing address?
Yeah, no, the address that's on Papa is that address, so it has not been updated. I wish it would be, because then I could start sending information, but it's
Wow.
up to the property owner.
I think we need to impose the lien.
Unfortunately.
Is there any further discussion? No, okay. Wes?
Based on the testimony evidence presented in case number 2300333, I move the certified copy of the order to impose a lien be recorded in the public records of Palm Beach County with such order to constitute the lien on the respondent's real and personal property provided by law.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Unfinished cases,
This is the lien here.
fine imposition. Okay. Case 230519, 7127 Westlake Drive.
That's correct.
Eric?
So the only communication, this is the one where this is the widow of the former judge. I had communication when I had posted the hearing, but since then I've had no communication with her. So she hasn't reached out to the town. I know you were gracious enough to give an extension, but as you can see, the vehicles are still there and the parking lot is still in disrepair.
We'll do the parking lot later, right? Different.
Yes, correct. Yeah, the parking lot is
Okay.
the parking lot is item number 10.
Any discussion?
I'm just curious if anybody here in the town knows this family personally. Obviously they lost the main breadwinner, or I don't know what the condition is of this.
I believe the
Wow.
property owner has been here before the board.
No, the
Not this
property
time.
owner, when I had spoken to her, she was unable to attend because of her loss and grievances.
But she's been here before,
Previously.
previous cases.
None that I have taken, but maybe from Lieutenant Fisher.
I think so, but I might be wrong.
Are there any children? Weren't there some children?
Adult children.
Adult children?
Yeah, well, I mean, so the lot is located right next to the property. So even when I posted the findings from the last case, it was posted to the door along with my business card. It was removed from the door. I can only speculate that she had taken it off the door and has some form of understanding. But again, I haven't had any further communication.
Have the vehicles moved? It looks like they might have been moved since the initial pictures, if I remember correctly.
I'd have to review the previous photos, but they're still the same vehicles, but they still have expired tags.
Oh, okay.
When was this 230519? When was she first, or he, whoever the confidential is, when was that first cited?
First notice.
Give me just one moment. Okay, so the violation was issued on 5/3/2023, and the notice of hearing was issued on 9/8/2023.
Is there any further discussion? Would someone like to make a motion?
I'll make it.
Okay, Wes.
Based upon the testimony evidence presented in case number 230519. I move that the certified copy of the order to impose a lien recorded in the public records of Palm Beach County with such order to constitute a lien on the respondent's real and personal properties provided by law.
Wes, I think this one is that we will or will not impose a fine.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, let's continue. Okay.
Mhm.
Be number 3, I think, right?
Yeah. Okay, I'll
Try again.
withdraw that motion. Based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 230519, I move that respondents be found to have failed to comply with the order, finding a violation dated 5/3/23. I find the amount of $50 per day to be imposed commencing on October 25th.
Okay.
Uh,
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Yeah.
Deb seconds. Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Okay. I believe we're going to go to bottom of the page, 230518.
Same property.
Same property.
Yeah, so this is for the vacant lot that needs to be resealed. Manny, do you have any input you want to put on this one?
What we have here is, I think on their last meeting, you asked that I do some research on the property. And this property was at one time 2 separate lots. The house was built in 1959 on the southern portion. And then on the northern portion, there was a pool and the existing parking lot that's there. What happened between 1960 to 20,000, or 2000, I mean, the current owner, or the owner at the time, inquired about doing some remodeling and with the restrictions that the town had on this property. Well, nothing was done on that. It was forwarded to the building department, but nothing came about. Then again, on February 17th, 2004, another inquiry came in regarding a proposed addition. And at that time, the town informed them that this is 2 lots and it needs to be combined, have a unity of title in order for them to expand on the house. Otherwise, they would be encroaching into the setbacks. So then on July 7th, the unity of title was filed with the county clerk's office. And at this time, the lot is a 161 by 160 and has no zoning issues as far as the house, the pool, other than property maintenance, as Eric has cited them for.
So there's a current unity of title in place combining.
Yes,
this
right now,
with the structure.
This is 1 lot.
When was this first cited, Eric?
Same as the previous one. It was
Same
cited,
one.
yeah, it was cited on 5/3/2023, and the notice of hearing was posted on 9/8/2023.
And again, you've not had any communication with the property owner.
No, I knocked on her door when I posted the last hearing. I knocked on her door today. There are vehicles in the driveway, so I can assume someone's home, but again, when someone's grieving, you know, I can't imagine what she's going through.
Eric, you said it was 5/3/23.
Yes.
You mean 24?
No,
No,
23.
Okay, you're right.
5/3/23.
You're right.
Okay.
I'm all right
So the-
this year.
In order to come into compliance, it sounds like the option would be either to reseal the pavement that's there or replace it with grass, correct?
Yeah, that's all that would be required, would be.
They have a separate driveway for the house
Yes.
and parking
I
at the
think it's a
house.
horseshoe driveway that they have.
Okay. So they're not required to have this paved parking.
No, and I try to find out what the purpose of that, because I mean, that parking area was built back in 1959. I could understand what maybe a big family or something on. There was nothing that indicated the purpose of that big parking lot.
So what would they have to do now? So in other words, it's okay to be, the entire lot be a parking lot, kind of look like commercial? Or
Well, no,
does it now have
that,
to be grass?
okay, right now, as it stands, it's an existing non-conforming in the sense that there's no means of water runoff in the sense that that large of an area has to have some sort of
Drain.
percolation. And as it appears, there isn't, and their best bet would be to remove it and just put the grass down, sod, what have not.
Sod and irrigate, I'm guessing.
We make that-
In your opinion, does the parking lot need to be repaired as well as
Well, oh, no, you could tell, or I don't know if you can tell from there, but I've been by there, not recently, but there was several extensive cracks, holes. It needs to be patched. And it's not beyond repair, mind you,
Mhm.
but for the amount of problem that they have, it would behoove them just to remove it.
So repair, reseal, or remove.
Exactly.
Right.
Do they even have a choice to even resale? Because I don't know if you're saying it's non-conforming, so they can maintain it, or is it grandfathered in to be paved like that?
They can maintain it, yes, because this was in existence long before our ordinances came about to what's required.
Mhm.
Okay.
Any further discussion?
No.
Someone like to make a motion?
I'll go ahead. Based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 23-0518, I move that this board find the respondents in violation of sections 34-19-9B of the Town Code of Ordinances. Respondent shall comply with the Town Code of Ordinances on or before January 24th, 2024. If respondents fail to comply with this order in a timely fashion, a fine in the amount not to exceed
Mhm.
$250 per day may be imposed. A fine assessment hearing will be held on January 24th, 2024, if necessary.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
I have a question. Would we want to give them any direction in terms of, in this motion as to what would bring them into compliance?
I think it would be-
Removal,
I would think
repair, reseal?
Yeah, you could add a sentence in there that compliance may be achieved by, remove, repair.
Correct.
Yeah.
I would like to modify my motion to include that clarification that in order to come into compliance, they would need to repair, resurface, replace the existing pavement, driveway, asphalt, whatever it happens to be, or remove and install lawn, whether it be sod or seed, and irrigate.
Okay, there's
Does
no,
that work?
there have no objection to that
No.
addition. Okay, further discussion?
The final start to be imposed when? Next,
January 24th. That gives them
A little more, yeah. A month and a
almost
half.
60 days, 45 days.
To come into compliance
I think, we can't-
before a fine is imposed.
I think we can't, we've tried
It's
our
been going
best.
on long enough.
It's almost going to be a year.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, I know she's grieving, but it's more, why aren't the adult children stepping up? I don't know. Doesn't make sense.
There has to be someone that's managing the estate for her, or a property manager, someone that can assist in getting something done.
Are we
Yeah.
sending them a certified mail, or I guess,
It's being physically posted to the property because the lot is right here and the house is connected right next to it. So the door, it's always posted right there. I knock on the door because I've had communication with her before. So I'm making every reasonable means to try to get their attention.
All right, so we have a motion that's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Okay, we'll move on to new cases. 230788.
Yes, correct. Good evening. I am Code Enforcement Officer Eric Richwagon, representing the town of Lake Clark Shores. This is case number 23-0788. Property owners are identified by Fiza Y. Meshrecki, Mina S. Meshrecki, and Michael S. Meshrecki. Property site address is 7133 Clark Road, Lake Clark Shores, Florida. So this case was initially brought because the police department was notified that animals from this property had gotten loose. So officers had responded to the property. Officer Poulos and Officer Vince went onto the property. These are images that were captured from the body worn camera. Officer Poulos, after handling this dog incident, noticed that there were prohibited outdoor storage items, and that there was, if you look on the right-hand side, there was a structure that was being built. So Officer Poulos brought this to my attention. So on 8/7/2023, once again, on 8/7/2023, under code section 34-19-7, the prohibited outdoor storage was cited. On 11/16/2023, the notice of hearing was posted. I went by the property today, however, that's in the backyard, so I'm unable to see it. I did have initial communication with the renters when they first received the violation. I've had no communication since then. Again, this has been going on since 8/7/23. They've not reached out to the building department. So it's my recommendation to give them 15 days to come into compliance. If not, a $50 a day fine may be imposed.
Okay, so right now we're talking about the outdoor storage.
Yes, correct.
Okay, I'll make a motion.
Okay, Jerry, any further discussion? Jerry?
Based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 23-0788, I move that this board finds the respondent in violation of sections 34-19 sub 7 of the Town Code of Ordinances. Responds shall comply with the Town Code of Ordinance on or before, and you were saying what, 15 days?
Yeah, I would say 15 days because this has been going on since 8/7/23.
So December 21st? Is that all
Yes, correct.
right?
May need you side with that.
So code on before December 31st of 2023. If the response failed to comply with this order in a timely fashion, a fine in the amount not to exceed $50 per day may be imposed. A fine assessment hearing will be held on January 24th of 2024.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Okay, this is the same property, case 230790, structural work done without a permit.
Yes, correct. Code Enforcement Officer Eric Richwagon with the Town of Lake Clark Shores, case number 23-0790. Property owners identified by Fiza Y. Meshrecki, Mina S. Meshrecki, and Michael S. Meshrecki. Site property address 7133 Clark Road, Lake Clark Shores. On 8/7/2023, a notice of violation was issued for section 10-91 subsection A, structural work done without a permit. I also want to include, because the officers did respond, there is a PD case number. So just to put on record, the PD case number is 23-3777. This is just in reference to the body cam footage. So I just want to put that in record. A notice of hearing was issued on 11/16/2023. Reinspection was attempted to be done today, but the violations are in the back of the property, so I am unable to see it. As previously stated, I had contact with the renters when the violation was first cited. I've had no further communication since.
And that was August 7th?
Yes, correct. Because it's a, structure that's been built without a permit. 7 days, 10 days, what do you think? 7, okay. Based on the recommendation from Manning, I'm gonna say to give them no more than 7 days to come into compliance. If not, $100 a day fine may be imposed.
I'll go ahead and do this.
Okay, Jerry.
Based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 23-0790, I move that this board finds the respondent in violation of sections 10-91 sub A of the Town Code of Ordinances. Respondents shall comply with the Town Code of Ordinance on or before December 13th of 2023. If the respondents fail to comply with this order in a timely fashion, a fine in the amount not to exceed, and being that I'm going to follow what we have here without permit, go for $250 per day, may be imposed. A fine assessment hearing will be held on January 24th of 2024 if necessary.
Second.
Motion's been moved and seconded. Further discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Is there anyone opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Oops, okay. All right. I believe we're on. P-
230856.
Yes, correct.
Thank you. Okay, 230856.
Yes,
Parking lot needs to be resealed and restriped.
yes, correct. I'm Code Enforcement Officer Eric Richwagon, the Town of Lake Clark Shores, case number 23-0853. Property owners identified by Storm Abramson Properties, site address 1870 Forest Hill Boulevard, Lake Clark Shores.
Eric, excuse me.
Yes.
Is that the right case number? I think we're on 0856.
Yeah.
I think it's on here twice.
Two different addresses.
I've got 23-0853 for the next one.
I put
Isn't
on.
that in
That
compliance?
was in compliance.
Oh, I apologize. Let me correct that. Case 23-0853 is not in compliance.
Yeah.
I apologize.
Is 56 in compliance? That's the same one.
So
With a
it's
different property?
separate buildings, but
separate
all the same owner.
Oh, okay. So actually, we're talking about 1870 Forest Hill.
Yes, sir.
So is 23-0855 in compliance or not in compliance?
Yes, 23-0855 is in compliance.
Okay.
Okay.
So we're on 230853.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Give me 1 second. All right, on 8/16/2023, a notice of violation was issued for section 34-19 subsection 9 subsection B. The entire parking lot needs to be resealed and restriped. A notice of hearing was issued on 11/16/2023. I have had communication with the property owner who is here, Mr. Abramson. He was very kind to meet up with me the other day. Just so you know, this property did have other violations for hedges and trees. Mr. Abramson got it taken care of promptly. So because this is not just for 1870, this is for 3 properties. This is going to be a big job. I spoke with Manny and I consulted with Bill. It's my recommendation to give them 6 months to fully do the parking lots because these are commercial properties. So there's multiple tenants in there. So the property owner has to find a way to plan it out where they can do sections at a time without disrupting business. So it's my recommendation to give them 6 months to come into compliance. If not, $100 a day fine may be imposed. And Mr. Abramson is here to speak.
Mr. Abramson, you would like to come up? Good evening.
So we're gonna, I hope to get the parking lots done prior to the 6 months. But we'll do it. And I had a nice meeting with Eric. We did try and take care of everything. A lot of the things, also the trees and such, it really was on our schedule with just the trees we do every 2 years, et cetera. So I think the only two things left before you all are the parking lot and the roof, painting the roof. And we have that now scheduled for January 13th.
Have you been able to contact anybody, any contractors
We're
about
in the
the
process.
parking lot?
We're in the process of doing that, following up with, I know some people have done some work across the street. And then we're trying to contact them and get them in for some estimates.
Okay.
When do you expect, I guess, to actually start? Because I guess you're going to be doing it in stages.
Well, I've got to get them, some people over there and get a couple of estimates. And as soon as I get those, I can make a decision and then schedule them to start. I have no particular reason to see how long, if I can do it till not looking to see if I have to stretch it out to the end of the 6 months. I expect that once I get the estimates, we can go ahead and schedule something.
And I guess permits would be in order.
Absolutely, yes. Would probably be in order, not only the permit, but inclusive in them permits would be drainage, that probably a civil engineering drawing as to how things are going to work, port, water flow and so forth.
So how much time would you give just for that process, just to do civil engineer?
Well, that's all, again, that could range depending, because the enormous area of that parking lot, logistic wise, as a business, you've got to figure out, it's got to be done in sections. I'm sure it's not going to be done all at once. So that's, the part of the acquiring the civil engineering drawings and stuff can probably follow through as far as in the process of getting his permit, but I can't give you specificness because our own engineers, Chapepi, says, you can get them like within a couple of weeks. It just varies on the nature of the work to be done.
That necessity is something I was not aware of because we don't have a drainage problem. That's never come up, with whatever rains and storms that we've had.
Well, excuse me for interrupting, but that's fine. But you have to show, have a civil engineer say, look, there's no problems. This is what's going to happen. And that'd be the end of that. We're not asking you to do anything more than what is required or what is happening. But if this is just to ensure that we're not having ponding water somewhere in some areas of of the parking lot and so forth.
Isn't that
If you don't
just,
have it, then you're fine.
that's typically just a recertification of an existing stormwater system, usually. I think they have to be done every 5 years, don't they?
Something of that, yes, I'm
Yeah.
not sure on the timetable, but yes.
But you're saying 6 months, you're saying 6 months and can't be like, or you
safe.
3
So-
months?
So I also do want to add in that, so on top of this, the ADA did change their standards. Every year they update what is required, but over the last 2 years, they have increased their standards much more. So when they do the restriping part, he's going to have to make sure that they come in compliance with the ADA for the handicap parking. So that's why 6 months is a recommendation, because there is a property that's going to be heard that's already been addressed with the ADA. I'm not going to speak on that. I'll let that owner, but this is something that the ADA has been going to several counties and it has been citing. So that's why I believe 6 months for everything should be, fair from doing that to what Manny is saying to also with the ADA compliance.
Does anybody have any questions of Mr. Aberthon?
I have no questions, but if we were to continue this for 2 months, Mr. Stevenson, will that give you time to get a contract maybe and some drawings or something like
I
that?
really have no idea. I mean, we're in the process now of trying to get someone.
Well,
Well,
the
I kind
notice
of recommend,
violation-
excuse me, I think we had something similar to this where you may want to keep Eric abreast. 2 weeks, let him know, okay, here are the people we've called. This is what we're waiting for, so forth. Because if we give them carte blanche and say, well, in 2 months, tell us what you got going, well, that's 60 days, all kinds of things. And you may not do anything up until the 59th day. And so I think we recommend.
I have no particular intention of seeing how long I can stretch out. But Eric and I have met in the past. We had a nice long meeting the other day. We've agreed to certainly keep in contact, and he knows that if he has any problems in the future for anything, please just contact me.
Yeah.
Let me know. I think you all know our property. We try very hard to keep it up and to have it presented in the proper manner.
And I agree with that, because when he got cited for the hedges and trees, it got taken care of, even quicker than I usually do my re-inspections. It was already done. Mr. Abramson's reached out to me. We walked the property. He understands what needs to be done. So as for communication, it's been excellent. Actually, all the property owners in here, communication's been excellent.
Good.
We can have a status report next month.
Okay. You want to make a motion?
Sure.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Abramson.
Can I ask you something as I'm here? The other matter, we had the two matters here with also in the roofs, which I think we're now scheduled for. I spoke to my assistant today. I think we're now scheduled. Hopefully, they're going to be there on the 13th. We have problems in trying to schedule them only because we're trying to do as much as we can on the weekends. So it's not to disturb tenants.
One more time, because they're doing the roofs.
I've got a bid, I've got a
Okay. You wanna
contract
mention that?
signed with them. It's just a
Okay,
matter of getting them there. Right now, it's scheduled for the 13th, so.
We don't have anything, he has not been cited for roofs, has he? As far as we know.
No, no, he hasn't, but there's a point here that has been, that I see comes up here. If he's going to be doing the roof first, I think maybe there should be, he may have to extend his time period that we're giving him to do the parking lot, since equipment's got to be brought in to do the roof. There's no sense in doing a repair job on
Right
the,
now, the roof is being scheduled for January 13th. I don't
The
think
roof will be done.
any people ready for the parking lot prior to that.
okay, so then you're okay then with the timetable that you've been given?
6 months. I don't get it. In other words, if the roof is getting done on the 13th, just adjacent to that, I don't think we're going to have the.
Sounds like we have a plan.
Yeah.
Okay,
And if there's a problem, I'm going to let Eric know and we'll
Okay.
deal with it.
okay, thank you.
All right.
We're gonna finish this right now.
Yeah.
Mr. Abramson, you can stay up there too, because the next two cases are for your properties. So if you want to sit and then stand, or if you want to just, oh, okay, Nope. whatever's easier for you, sir.
Okay, so we're on 230853, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Would someone like to make a motion?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna, go for number 6. I think. Based on the testimony evidence presented in case number, I think it's 23-0853.
Mhm.
I move that this board continues this matter until the Code Enforcement Board hearing on January 24th of 2024. So basically a status.
But I think we need another motion before that one. Didn't you want to find them in non-compliance and give them 6 months, but request that we get status updates?
You could do that all
I
at
can
once.
do it all at once then. All right.
Sorry.
No, it's all right. I'm fine with that. I'm more interested in the status updates, but here we go. Based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 23-0853, I move that this board find the respondent in violation of sections 34-19 sub 9 sub B of the Town Code of Ordinances. The respondent shall comply with the Town Code of Ordinance on or before, and I'm thinking May 22nd of 2024. And if the respondent fails to comply with this order in a timely fashion, a fine in the amount not to exceed $50 per day may be imposed. A fine assessment hearing will be held on, I guess, May 22nd of 2024 if necessary. And I'd like to add that we receive a status report every month at the next Code Enforcement Board meetings until it's complete.
And those could be
Is that
made,
giving that status to Eric then, or
I think
have
that-
do I have to?
Yeah, I think that'll be sufficient.
Yes, so you'll let me know, and then every month I'll just let the board know.
Second that. for those.
Okay. You have all that, Emily?
Yep.
Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Okay, now we're at 0856. Is that correct, Eric?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right, so case
Mr. Abramson.
23-0856. Property owner identified by Storm Abramson's property. Site address is going to be 1860 Forest Hill Boulevard, Lake Clark Shores. On 8/16/2023, a notice of violation was issued for, one second, section 34-19 subsection B, subsection 9 subsection B. The parking lot needs to be resealed and restriped. A notice of hearing was issued on 11/16/2023. Reinspection of today's date found the violations to still exist. But again, after speaking with Mr. Abramson, my recommendation to give him 6 months to come into compliance. If not, $100 a day fine may be imposed.
Okay, so this is no different than the last case.
No, because it's
What we do.
1870, 1860. So it's 3 consecutive commercial properties right next to each other.
Okay.
Jerry?
Based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 23-0856, I move that this board finds the respondents in violation of sections 34-19 sub 9 sub B of the Town of Code of Ordinances. Respondents shall comply with the Town Code of Ordinances on or before May 22nd of 2024. If the respondents fail to comply with this order in a timely fashion, a fine in the amount of, I'm going to put the same as the last one, $50 per day may be imposed. A fine assessment hearing will be held on May 22nd of 2024 if necessary. Again, that we are given a monthly update, that every code enforcement board meeting, that we are given an update on the status of your progress.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Okay. And now 230859.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So Code Enforcement Officer Eric Richwagon, representing Town of Lake Clark Shores, case 23-0859, property owner identified by Storm Abramson property, site address 1850 Forest Hill Boulevard, Lake Clark Shores. On 8/16/2023, a notice of violation was issued for section 34-19 subsection 9 subsection B. Parking lot needs to be resealed and restriped. A notice of hearing was issued on 11/16/2023. Reinspection was done today, showing that the violations still exist. It's my recommendation to give them 6 months to come into compliance. If not, a fine of $50 a day may be imposed.
Okay, I'll do it again.
Okay.
Based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 23-0859, I move that the board finds this respondent in violation of sections 34-19 sub 9 sub B of the Town Code of Ordinances. Respondents shall comply with the Town Code of Ordinances on or before May 22nd of 2024. If the respondents fail to comply with the order in a timely fashion, a fine in the amount not to exceed $50 per day may be imposed. A fine assessment hearing will be held on May 22nd of 2024 if necessary, and that the respondents to give an update at every code enforcement meeting up to May 22nd, 2024.
Second.
Further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Abramson.
You're welcome.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Abramson.
Okay,
Mr. Chairman,
yes,
so
sir.
we have other people here that are going to speak on theirs, so we can maybe move them ahead of
Yes,
some of the other.
they're all speaking. These are all property owners or representatives of property owners.
Could we go to them instead of waiting till the end?
The next one in line, the property owner is actually right here.
Oh,
Okay,
So we can continue.
1800 for,
Yes, sir.
okay.
okay.
230865, 1800 Forest Hill Boulevard.
Yes, sir.
Eric?
Code Enforcement Officer Eric Richwagon with the Town of Lake Clark Shores, case number 23-0865. Property owner is identified by 1800 Forest Hill Inc. Site property address is 1800 Forest Hill Boulevard, Lake Clark Shores. On 8/17/2023, a notice of violation was issued for section 34-19 subsection 9 subsection B. The parking lot needs to be restriped and resealed. A notice of hearing was issued on 11/16/2023, which was sent out by certified mail. I do have the property owner here, just as the previous property owner. This one was cited for hedges and trees. They took care of it immediately. I did a full walkthrough of the property with the property owner. He has every intention of coming into compliance. Communication's been excellent, so it's my recommendation to give them 6 months. If not, a fine of $50 a day may be imposed. And there's some additional stuff, but I will let the property owner speak on that behalf.
Would you like to identify yourself?
Yeah, good evening. My name's Richard Johnson, and I'm the managing partner of 1800 Forest Hill, Inc. As soon as I got this violation notice, I had met with Officer Richwagon. I explained to him that we would be happy to seal coat the parking lot, but that we had been recently served with an ADA lawsuit. And so I have since then settled the lawsuit. I have some handicap ramps that I have to reconstruct. I have some handicap spaces that I have to add. And I have hired Simmons and White Engineering, who worked with Dan Clark and I to do the Dunkin' Donut deal years ago when we constructed the sewer system for the town to service the Dunkin' Donuts and the other properties in the area. And I've also hired Urban Design Studios to help me with the permitting and the design of these ramps. I thought originally that I was going to be able to do it on my own. I met a paver out there and he said, it's a little more complicated than I want to get into on my own. You need to get somebody to help you because the ramps have to be built where they don't come into columns, where they don't have to, where you don't come up a ramp and you're dealing with a door. So anyways, I settled the lawsuit. The attorney gave me 2 years to do all of the improvements to the lot, the ramps, do everything that we've got to do. And I've got these professionals on my team now to help me design everything so we do it properly. But that's going to take a little bit of time. I met with Ken Tuma yesterday of Urban Design Studios, asked him what kind of timeline he was looking at to get the design work done. And he said probably 2 months to get the design work done by the time they go out there and analyze everything and then they get it all drawn, and they're probably going to have to get an architect involved as well. So we're going to get all this done, but my situation's a little bit different than Mr. Abramson's. It's going to take a little bit of time. We're certainly willing to seal coat it, but it doesn't make any sense to dig up asphalt and pour concrete and do all that. And you know, we want to do everything right. So Ken thought that we could certainly get it done within 6 months. He said, you know, you might end up going back and asking for a little bit more time if you don't, but I'm fine with the recommendation of 6 months. And if I have to, and Eric and I have been communicating the whole time. So, you know, he'll know what's going on. And,
Okay.
you know, we're going to take care of it, but my situation's a little bit more complicated than the previous case.
In
Question?
order to get the permitting for the changes to the parking lot, is that going to need to go in front of zoning?
For zoning? Well, if he's downsizing, are you eliminating parking lot spaces?
No, sir.
Well, no, that's not going to be an issue then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, because I know that we have a formula that the square footage of the business requires so many parking spaces aside from the ADA requirements. So whatever, if you have what you have now, and it does meet the requirements for the number of parking spots, then you're fine. But if you're cutting some out to make room for ADA, then you may have an issue there.
Yeah, I don't believe that we'll be eliminating anything.
Okay.
But, you know,
Well, at the permitting process, we'll be taking a look at
yeah,
that.
we've got to figure out the lawsuit said that we didn't have enough. You know, I don't know if we are short. that's all part of this process that we're going to be going through with the professionals.
So you're hoping to have it done within 6 months?
I am hoping to have it done within 6 months. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. We've already hired all these people. We met with them yesterday. I'm working with them. I'm in the development business. I'm working with them on several other projects right now, and they're on top of it.
If there's no further discussion, Jerry, would you like to make a motion?
Yes. Based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 23-0865, I move that this board finds the respondent in violation of sections 34-19 sub 9 sub B of the Town Code of Ordinances. Respondent shall comply with the Town Code of Ordinances on or before May 22nd of 2024. If the respondent failed to comply with this order in a timely fashion, a fine in the amount not to exceed $50 per day may be imposed. A fine assessment hearing will be held on May 22nd of 2024 if necessary. We are requiring the respondent to give us a status report at every code enforcement meeting up to that point,
Monthly basis.
monthly basis.
Okay. No problem. I'll keep in contact with Eric and he'll know exactly what's going on.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Chairman, I would like to take the cases out of order because we do have the other property owners and representatives here. Is that okay with you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then could we turn to page 5? And we will start with case 23-0882, which will be 1495. Also, when we're done with 1495, the same people will be speaking for 1499 as well. So we'll get there, but I just don't want to confuse you.
Okay.
So,
It's all the same issues.
yes,
23-0882.
yes, sir.
Okay.
All right, so Code Enforcement Officer Eric Richwagon with the Town of Lake Clark Shores, case number 23-0882. Property owners are identified by Centra Place Professional Park Property Owners Association, Inc. Site property 1495 Forest Hill Boulevard, Lake Clark Shores. A notice of violation was issued on 8/25/2023 under section 34-19 subsection 9 subsection B. The entire parking lot needs to be resealed and restriped. A notice of hearing was issued on 11/16/2023. A reinspection of today's date found the violations to still exist. I've been in contact with the property owners, the property manager, and the field site director, supervisor. So this property was purchased a few months before I started. I just want to give a little bit of a backstory because this particular, there's 5 buildings, and this has been a little bit more of the tougher spot for the town. But since I started for 1495 and for 1499, I have noticed a drastic improvement. There was a lot of overgrown trees, a lot of overgrown hedges. The officers were having issues with vagrancy, a lot of trash and debris. I noticed consistently over the months that things have gotten better and better. Last week, I met up with the people who will be speaking on top of the property owner, along with one of our police officers. We did a full walkthrough of the property. They explained everything that's going to be going on. So it's my recommendation to give them 6 months, if not a $50 a day fine, maybe imposed for the reason that they plan on redoing the inside of the building. They want to add lock security doors to the building. That way, only during hours of operation, certain people are getting in. That helps with the safety. They want to add cameras in. They do want to do the parking lot, but they want to make sure the building is secure. I think this is a great thing for the town. I think this will bring in more business. So that's my recommendation. And we have the representatives here. So if you want to speak.
6 months is still good?
Yeah, well, that's what we discussed. The property owner said it was fine. This is the field site supervisor.
Eric, I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Before, I should have asked this earlier. These notice of violations extend back into August.
Yes, correct.
And I'm just curious as to why we're where we're at now after all this time.
So the notice of violations were sent out by mail. I was speaking to the property owner. He didn't receive them, but when I sent out the notice of hearing through certified mail, because they didn't have an area to post, once the property owner got the certified mail, he got in contact with me. I had back and forth email communication. The hedges and the trees, which were going to be heard on this agenda, were taken care of when I met up with them. So they spent quite a bit of money to get that taken care of. So 2 out of 3 of the violations got corrected.
So does that mean maybe on these commercial properties, we should be doing an initial certified letter?
So some of the commercial properties have a home-based office. Some of the ones heard actually have offices. The ones that don't have an area for me to physically post, I send the notice of hearing out certified mail.
And you know what those properties are?
Yes, I do.
Mhm.
But could we not send the notice of violation by certified mail as well?
We could.
If you're not posting it.
Typically, the notice of violation is sent out by regular mail. For these particular ones, I can have a discussion with the town manager to see what the decision is. So allow me to answer that question during the next meeting. I will have an answer for you, but yeah, we'll have a discussion about possibly sending out the notice of violation certified mail, because the notice of hearing made it there, and I then had communication.
Yeah, I'm thinking the commercial properties, not the residential,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
the residential.
No, I know what you mean.
Sir, your name is
Joseph Parkman,
Joseph Parkman, and you're the
Facilities Director.
facility director for 1495 and 1499?
That is
Okay.
correct. So we trimmed the trees probably, I don't know, before this violation happened. There was some trees from the park because we're adjacent to, I guess, one of the city parks or the county parks. Their tree kind of overgrew onto our property. When I met Eric out there the next day, I mean, that morning we went in and trimmed him down and got exactly what he wanted off. But the majority, 99% of the property, we did that 5 or 6 months ago. Just so, you know, the violation, we didn't really get that until it became certified. We have plans, already have estimates for the parking lot restriping and seal coat. We already did a whole bunch of the major repairs to the potholes. So we are doing cameras, we're doing locks. We are, you know, dropping, you know, changing out the drop ceilings, you know, stuff like that to improve the property. We bought that property, I think, a little over a year and added it to the portfolio. At that time, I guess Eric was letting me know, and the police officer, that there was a thing called a pill mill, which I really never heard of, but there was just doctors like all through there, and it was a lot of bad things that was going on. So we've actually upkept the property pretty good. We're trying to bring it, there's an association there's 4 property addresses there. We own 2 of those. So we're trying to bring the other 2 into our association so the whole property is taken care of. You know, our intentions was to get the striping and the seal coat done right away. You know, but we want to get the interior stuff done so, you know, people's trucks and things like that aren't going to kind of ruin what we've done on the outside. But we should definitely have everything done before the 6 months.
Have you gotten estimates on the?
We already have. I had 10 people come out there. You know, we had estimates from $42,000 to, you know, $9,000. So I did my due diligence to find out exactly where we were and who else, what companies done that type of work in the city that you know, what we're in. So it's just pulling the trigger on that.
Eric, it seems like he's ahead of the game. Do you think we need 6 months now?
Well, if he wishes to alter and give a different time period, I'm open to that. I said 6 because the improvements they've already made, seeing as we do have a school that's going to be built in there, the fact that they've already gotten all the lights, so all the lighting at nighttime wasn't working from the previous owner. Joe has gotten all that light working because the officers, you know, so it was an issue. People, you know, loitering, hanging around after hours. Now with the lighting, the officers are noticing far less vagrancy and trespassings. So based on the work they're doing, they're already doing everything to make the property, you know, so much better.
Just curious, because of the last case and you heard it, is there any issues in regards to ADA? I
No,
find that interesting.
not at this moment, no.
Okay,
So we plan on, kind of looking and seeing exactly what we have. Some of the guys that I've talked to are gonna stripe out the handicap spots that are, it's like a 2% grade that they have to be on, and which we do have at, both of our locations. So pretty much it's just really a seal and a stripe, and then just the right striping for the handicap 80 ADD.
okay.
And the 6 months would be convenient for, not only for me, but we run 400 properties. So, it takes us a minute, and I just moved here from California. So I'm still getting contractors and finding the right ones, because everyone says they know what to do here, but I've come across a lot of guys that really don't know. So it's not like I have a portfolio or a Rolodex of like, this is a good contractor and this isn't.
Welcome to Florida.
Yeah. So, but at the end of the day, I think, if you want to set like a 3-month to come back and, give you guys an update. My goal is to be done with all the interiors. We're just doing a facelift, painting, ceiling tiles, and then the locking system. So, we plan on being done beforehand. Before
Does
the
anything
6th.
that you're doing on the inside require permitting?
No,
I don't.
no, we're not
doesn't
changing.
Sound like it, right?
Yeah, we're not changing. We're just doing painting, some laminate flooring, and new lock systems.
Check, because I
Yeah.
know where I am, we require permits for flooring.
I was just
That's
gonna
for
go
the
there.
Second story for second story.
Okay, is it,
Sound
is this a
unrelated.
commercial business or,
It's commercial.
no, you would need a permit, right? You would need it. It's not, the second story issue is for the soundproofing, but
Right.
you're doing a first floor commercial, that would require a permit.
Are you sure? Because I did some research on it, and there's not really a code on what you have to put down on there.
Well, the Florida Building Code says any improvement, addition, enhancement would require a permit. Now, with that being said, you can submit your permit if the building official deems at that time it isn't, but commercial, I'm very positive that.
Well,
It's gonna require-
I'll double check. I'll come to the city and
Okay.
find
Huh?
out for sure. But most of our other commercial properties, as long as there's not a 2-story sound barrier proof that needs to be put in, they just kind of go with it. But I'll definitely do my homework on that.
Yeah, I would recommend you check with the
Yes, ma'am.
building department, but permits maybe, not for the painting and
Yeah.
that sort of thing, but any other kind of improvements. would
Okay.
need-
So is there a motion for 230882?
Yeah, I'll do it. Based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 23-882, I move that this board finds the respondent in violation of sections 34-19, sub 9, sub B of the Town of Code of Ordinances. Respondent shall comply with the Town Code of Ordinances on or before May 22nd of 2024. If the respondent failed to comply with this order in a timely fashion, a fine in the amount not to exceed $50 per day may be imposed. A fine assessment hearing will be held on May 22nd, 2024, if necessary, requiring the respondent to give monthly status reports at each code enforcement meeting up to May 22nd of 2024.
Yeah, I have his personal cell phone
Yeah.
number, so we'll be in contact. We want to improve our location just as bad as the city wants the improvement done too. And we've come a long way since we purchased it. So, we're definitely going to do our due diligence to make it happen.
Is there a second to the motion?
Hold on, Jerry,
Is there?
did you consider moving that to 3 months instead of 6 months? This gentleman thinks he'll have it done in 3 months. So it'll be a check in 3 months. And just think about,
Well, we're having a monthly status. I'm just treating it the same as the previous case that we had.
okay.
And the restriping, and obviously, I like everything that they're trying to do. So
Okay,
I think if you
I
get
mean,
it done
if we get the
shorter,
restriping and the ceiling done, say within, a month or month and a half,
just,
I'll call Eric up and
okay,
just let him know. And then
Okay.
all this will be gone, right?
Right.
And then whatever permit processing, I'll double check on that in the next coming weeks and find out, make sure that we're all on the square on that.
I'll second the motion.
Further discussion? All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Is there anyone opposed? Motion carries. Okay, now we're at
gonna be-
230887,
Yes, correct.
1499.
Yes, correct.
Same situation.
Absolute same situation. So I'll just briefly read this case. 23-0887, property owner identified by Central Place Professional Park LLC. Property site address 1499 Forest Hill Boulevard, Lake Clark Shores. A notice of violation was issued on 8/25/2023 under section 34-19 subsection 9 subsection B. The entire parking lot needs to be resealed and restriped. A notice of hearing was issued on 11/9/2023. Reinspection was done as of today, finding that the violations still exist. It's my recommendation to give them 6 months to come into compliance. If not, a fine of $50 a day may be imposed.
I'll do this one. Based on testimony and evidence presented in case number 23-887, I move this board finds the response in violation of section 34-19 sub 9 sub B of the town code of ordinance. Respondents shall comply with the town's code of ordinance on and before May 22nd, 2024. If the respondents fail to comply with this order in a timely fashion, fine the amount shall not exceed $50 a day, which may be imposed. The fine assessment hearing will be held on 5/22/24. And again, monthly updates.
Yes, sir.
And that's fine.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Attorney, do we have a quorum now?
You do know.
533. Okay.
My
Apologies. That's okay. All in favor, say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
You guys, have a
Okay.
blessed night.
Thank you.
Happy holidays.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, you as well.
All right. All right, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
It'll be case 23-0886. I'm sorry. Yes, sorry. Yeah, 23-0886.
Okay.
Property owner is identified by Palm Properties LLC. Site property address 1501 Forest Hill Boulevard. On 8/25/2023, a notice of violation was issued for section 34-19 subsection 9 subsection B. The entire parking lot needs to be resealed and restriped. Notice of hearing was issued on 11/16/2023. Reinspection as of today's date finds the violations to still exist. This particular building is split into two buildings. There's on the south side, there's one owner, which hasn't been cited yet, but are. And then there's the right side, which is this one. There are three individual owners. I have one of the owners here representing the three. I had a conversation with him. It's my recommendation to give them 6 months to come in compliance. If not, a $50 a day fine may be imposed.
Sir.
Robert, one of the three in the north building, I think a Montessori school is about to go to the south building based on the rumors that I hear. Dr. Reddy used to own that building, but he's passed away, so I'm not sure who's monitoring that building.
That one's that's KNR LLC.
I have no idea.
I'm sorry, Emily, did you get his name?
Robert, and what was your Denting?
Go ahead.
We will do our lot, I know that. We're about to have our roof is going to be done next, not this coming Monday, the 15th of December. We're going to start our roof. To the best of my knowledge, we're going to have cranes in taking 5 AC units off the top. They're going to rebuild the structure. I don't know anything about permitting for that. I'm assuming that everybody who's doing that, nobody comes to me to have their teeth done and you have to go find your own dental lab. I handle all that. I'm assuming, big assumption, that everybody who's doing all this roofing work gets permits through you guys. If not, let me know. Or let Dr. Amro know, or one of us. I have to assume they get them, do they not?
Well, permits, if there are permits, the permit should be posted on the job site. So when an inspector goes by, he should be able to look at it. And even if you do have a permit and it's not posted, that's a violation in itself.
But aren't the roofers going to know? I do not know this. I'm a tooth carpenter. I promise you, I don't know any of this.
The property owner is responsible, and you need to make sure your contractors
Is doing.
do get permits.
They'll
Correct.
ask you to sign a notice of commencement
Yes.
and the permit application. So if they haven't done that yet and you're expecting them to start work in the next couple weeks,
I've been told, I'm not gonna get the other two people who aren't here in my building. I'm not real friendly with them because I think they're crazy. They tell me they've had them signed. I can't testify to that with my hand in the air. I don't
I'd be
know.
willing to bet you that you could check with the building department tomorrow and they can confirm.
They can find out.
Yes, sir. Yeah, give us a call. You can call me for any questions you have, but also you can reach out to Melissa in the building department. Anything more technical from that, they can always shoot you over to Manny. We're all very receptive.
Permit through you guys?
Through the building department, yes, correct.
Well, I am gonna call tomorrow because I have not seen it. I've just heard through text that it's been signed. I have
Okay.
no knowledge that is a fact. But we are gonna, that is supposedly gonna start on the 15th. As soon as that is done, I wouldn't think we'd have any trouble. 6 months to me seems plenty of time. I may eat those words, but that seems like a lot of time to me.
Yeah, well, they'll know whether your permit status is up to date.
If it's not, let me know. I'm gonna-
The girl at the front, Melissa is the one you would want, she's the one that has access to the permits. She can instantly tell you, look, if you call in, give the address and what is being done, she'll let you know.
What time is she here tomorrow?
He's here at 8.
8 o'clock.
Open up at 8, just
Don't
call.
hear from me. It's already 8 o'clock because I don't know. I have no idea.
One word is, if the permits aren't there, you're gonna have to tell your contractor not to start.
Yeah, don't start
Don't
the
start
the
unless
work.
the permit has been issued. Which throws another monkey wrench in your thing.
It's not gonna throw a monkey wrench into what I'm doing, but one of the other people that's not here, and again, I don't want to speak for that person. Blunt, they're a control freak. And
Okay.
if it's not done, I'm gonna let her know that I know it's not done. I'll know at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. If it's not done, he's gonna get ugly at 1501 Forest Hill Boulevard. But I don't think 6 months is, if we can't get it done in 6 months, you need to come burn our building down. It should be easily done. That's my best guess.
Okay. Someone like to make a motion?
I'll make it.
Okay, Wes.
Based on testimony evidence presented in case number
Oh,
2023-0866,
886.
886, sorry. I move this board finds the response in violation of section 34-19 sub 9 sub B of the town code of ordinances. Respondent shall comply with the town code of ordinances on and before
5/22/24.
We'll do that. We'll be 5/22/24. If respondents fail to comply with this order in a timely fashion, fine amount not to exceed $50 a day may be imposed. Fine assessment hearing will be held on 5/22/24 if necessary. And keep Eric apprised, especially if you don't have those permits.
I'll know
Yeah, that's deeper trouble than you want to get into.
I believe you.
So is he gonna give status reports
Yeah, status reports monthly.
with the code enforcement?
Eric.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Denton.
Thank you for coming in.
All right, Mr. Chairman, we'll take it back to the order that originally was it, if you're okay with that.
Yep.
So that'll be starting on page 4. It'll be case 23-0867.
Yes.
Okay. Am I good to proceed?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, sir. Code Enforcement Officer Eric Richwagon, representing the town of Lake Clark Shore. This is case number 23-0867. Property owner identified by RTP Real Estate Holdings LLC. Site property address 1490 Forest Hill Boulevard, Lake Clark Shores. I'm sorry, that is incorrect. That case is closed. Let me give you the correct one. Case 23-0870, the one right under it. Property owner identified
What
by
happened to what happened to 6-7?
6-7 came into compliance as of today.
The parking lot's done and everything?
Yes, it's fully done. I put a check mark there. Sorry, I put an X instead of a check mark.
Oh.
So
Oh,
they're in full compliance,
Okay.
and their parking lot looks beautiful. So
I'm just curious, when did you cite them originally in that case?
Okay, for 1490,
for 1490. I mean, I'm just curious how fast they were able to get it done.
1490 was cited on 8/17/2023.
Mhm.
The notice of hearing was issued on 11/16/2023, and a reinspection of today's date found that they are in full compliance. They had called me previously and let me know that it was done. There's a couple spots on there that I told them they need to get it corrected. They got it corrected, so they are good to go.
Okay, so we're on 0870.
Yes, sir. So case 23-0870, property owner identified by Ivan Naranjo, site property 7125 Pine Tree Lane, Lake Clark Shores. On 8/19/2023, while I was on the water doing my patrol with one of the officers, I came across a partially sunken boat. So under section 34-20, the partially sunken boat must be removed. On 11/16/2023, a notice of hearing was issued. As of today's date, I wasn't able to go on the water, but I did have constant communication with the property owner. They got the water out of the boat, and I have seen it, so it wasn't partially submerged anymore, but it was still in need of repair. I spoke to the property owner yesterday. They were going to give me pictures. Unfortunately, the owner broke his arm and is currently in the hospital. They told me they would provide me photos saying that it's in compliance. My recommendation would be to give them 5 days to provide me with those photographs. If not, a $50 a day fine may be imposed.
Eric, I mean, since it's probably not operable, I'm just curious, is it currently registered? Do you know?
I do not know. It was currently registered. The numbers for it were underwater.
That's inoperable.
Should have tags up on the bow, right?
If you would like, I am going out on the water on Saturday with Officer Sigalakis. I can ask him if he could run it to see if it is current and valid. And then if one of the members wants to give me a call, I can give you an update. If you want to call me by the end of shift on Saturday or whatever your convenience is.
And that's not a picture now?
No, that's when it was initially cited.
And it was cited when again?
I apologize.
August.
Yes,
So
8/19/23.
that's been on the lake this whole time?
Well, they got the water out of it, so it was floating, not, I don't know what the boating term is, but it wasn't listing anymore.
Well, let me just let you know that I live about 4 houses from this boat. This boat has been in that location with a blue tarp on it for well before August. It's been sitting there and they have tow straps tied to the trees. You can see that.
Yeah, you can see in the photo.
Yeah, so this isn't anything that just happened. You know, it's been there. I would say it's been there. We're August, probably the beginning of the year.
Tina, you can see it from the waterway. Have you been able to see if it's still there? Do you know?
I looked this afternoon when I could look down and it's still there.
Okay, so it's still in the water.
It's still in the water.
Okay.
Is this would be considered litter? When it's, obviously we're a boating community, but with taking the water out, so what, I mean.
So there's no engine on it, which thankfully for that, so we know that there's no oils and gas getting into the water. Mr. Town Manager, do you?
It looks like an inboard.
That's what I'm thinking.
Was it in? Oh, sorry, okay.
So that's not the case.
So
sorry, I don't.
Probably part of the engine has been underwater.
Okay. Yeah, sorry, I don't know too much about different types of boats. I apologize.
I think the boat needs to be removed. Just my opinion.
Yeah.
How would you remove that? Tow it?
You'd pump it out and then you tow it to the launch. Hopefully it wouldn't sink before you get there.
Yeah.
Put it on someone's trailer. I don't think they have a trailer. I don't know that, but
That could be professionally removed.
it could be.
And rather quickly, it would not take,
Just to get somebody to do it.
right.
I mean, there are other boats that have been at docks for a longer period of time, but they're not sinking.
The only thing that I would say is the property owner did break his arm yesterday and is still in the hospital. That's the only reason why I was asking for maybe we give him just a little bit of time to provide me with the photos. And I am going out on the water on Saturday, so I can get very close to it, take much better detailed photos and give a much better assessment of the situation.
The bilge pump is probably not working.
No.
Battery's probably dead.
Do you have any?
My thought is though that the notice of violation being issued in August, they've already had nearly 4
Mhm.
months to do something. And if the boat is still there, they don't seem to be in a rush to do anything.
And they haven't come to face us either.
Right. Realizing that the owner is in the hospital, but
4 months later, and the
Right.
citation.
Would someone like to make a motion?
Yeah,
Yeah, I just,
I will.
yeah.
Okay, based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 23-0870, I move that this board finds the respondent in violation of sections 34-20 of the Town of Code of Ordinances. Respondents shall comply with the Town Code of Ordinances on or before January 24th. Are you saying, Eric, how many days?
I was just going to say 5 to allow them the opportunity to provide me with photos and to give me a chance to go out on Saturday to visually, check it myself and take updated photos for the file.
Okay, so that would be December 11th,
Yes, sir.
and that's Monday. Okay.
Do you expect,
So-
do you expect the boat to be removed by then?
Well, if it's in a good state of repair, if it's floating properly and it's being properly maintained, I believe that would correct the violation. Because, based on the photo that was initially taken, yeah, it's in a sinking state. But if it's no longer in a sinking state, and
It needs to be registered, just like a car with an expired tag, right, on someone's driveway. Isn't a boat the same thing?
so for the boats, I know that tickets can be issued by law enforcement officers. From the land, I can issue code violations for vehicles not being registered. I'll have to discuss it with Lieutenant Fisher if a code violation can be issued for vessels.
Can I?
That's an.
I think there, these little canals and stuff, it depends on the jurisdiction, because I know the town owns some of these, has its jurisdiction, so I think you might be able to address that, but some are managed by the Florida Water Management. So if this canal is in the town's,
This is on the main lake, on the canal.
it is?
Yes, it is.
No, I don't think that is, that's the town's.
But when we report, or if that's the case, when we report, what is it, Florida Wildlife Enforcement? What is it?
Florida Water.
Yeah, Water Management District.
So wouldn't we report, hey, listen, there's a vessel here? How is that?
Trust me, they have, I do it in a couple other towns, and yeah, okay, we'll take a report, and when can you get it removed? Well, we'll get back with you. They've got a gazillion cases that they
Yeah, so let's handle
get
this
put on a
ourselves.
list.
All right, so I'm gonna go with honor before December 11th of 2023
pictures.
and providing pictures of the boat and registration. Is that, you're gonna do pictures?
Yeah, so what I'll do is I'll discuss it with Lieutenant Fisher, because I will be on the water with a police officer. I'll see, because I can't direct an officer what to do, but I'll talk to Lieutenant Fisher based on what she says. Maybe she can direct Officer Sigalakis to run the boat and then provide you with that information.
This is-
Okay.
Yeah, I think that might be a different code section if it is a violation. If it says it's not registered. I don't think that's not what they've been cited for, correct?
No, they
Yeah.
were decided for the boat being a nuisance.
It's a derelict.
Yeah, but would you?
It needs to be removed.
Yeah.
Otherwise, get it in compliance.
If the response failed to, do you want me to start over or
I don't know what Emily needs. Probably start over.
start over, Emily?
No, I don't think so. You're giving the person until December 11 to comply?
That is correct.
Okay.
If the response failed to comply with this order in a timely fashion, a fine in the amount not to exceed $200 per day may be imposed. A fine assessment hearing will be held on January 22nd of 2024 if necessary.
Second.
Further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Okay.
Next one will be on page 5, at the top, 23-0881.
Okay, Eric.
All right. Code Enforcement Officer Eric Richwagon with the Town of Lake Clark Shores, case number 23-0881. Property owner identified by Yavis Company and Development Group, LLC. Site property address 1511 Forest Hill Boulevard, Lake Clark Shores. On 8/25/2023, a notice of violation was issued for section 34-19, subsection 9, subsection B. The entire parking lot needs to be resealed and restriped. On 11/16/2023, a notice of hearing was issued. It was sent out by certified mail. I have not had any communication with this property owner. I believe because we're giving all of the other ones the 6 months, it'd be my recommendation to follow that trend, seeing as the last couple. It's a little bit smaller than the other parking lots, but it is still, as you can see, it's a very busy, small little plaza. So I'd say 6 months to come into full compliance. If not, a fine of $50 a day may be imposed. Manny, do you have any?
The initial violation was,
So the initial violation was issued on 8/25/2023.
and you've had no communication with him since August?
No, not this property.
And you recommend giving him 6 more months?
No.
I just
No.
think in terms of fairness, seeing as all the other ones, I just don't want it to run into a situation where they do come in and say, well, why did everyone else get 6? And I understand that because I've had communications with the other ones. I'm okay to you guys discussing it and making your determination.
Did you put a hearing or I guess a notice on whatever door, or was it certified mail?
No, the notice of violation was mailed out because there's no physical address in there to post because they're all businesses. So it was sent out by regular mail, and the notice of hearing was sent out by certified mail.
Did that come back?
Yes, it did. Well, it came back, but it didn't come back signed.
Well, that's just your proof of mailing. You don't have the other green card?
Green card.
Oh, I believe I have it next door. Yeah.
I don't think they're taking us seriously.
No.
No.
I'll make a motion.
Okay. Well, is there any further discussion?
I don't think we should wait 6 months. I don't see any action. They're not even here in person. Everybody else has come in here and they're not communicating. So I think a message needs to be delivered.
Okay. Wes?
Based upon the testimony evidence presented in case number 23-0881, I move this board find the response in violation of section 34-19 sub 9 sub B of the town code of ordinances. Respondent shall comply with the town code of ordinances on or before January 24th. If respondents fail to comply with this order in a timely fashion, fine the amount not to exceed $250 per day be imposed. Fine assessment hearing will be held on January 24th.
I'll second it.
If necessary.
Is there a second?
I second it.
Further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Excuse me, did you say that the fine may be imposed or it will be, or is imposed?
You want to impose it
Yeah.
effective?
Well, you'd have to see if they comply, and if they don't, you
We could
So
impose
maybe
it.
imposed.
you impose it January 24th.
It may be imposed.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, you could always, if they came in, then you could extend it or whatever.
Right.
Okay.
But if they don't,
Okay. 23-0890.
Yes. Case number 23-0890. I'm Code Enforcement Officer Eric Richwagon. The property owner is CMG Realty Co. of Florida. Site property address 1497 Forest Hill Boulevard. On 8/25/2023, a notice of violation was issued. under section 34-19 subsection 9 subsection B. The entire parking lot needs to be resealed and restriped. Notice of hearing was issued on 11/9/2023 and was posted to the property. As of today's date, the violations still exist. Here's my recommendation to give them 6 months to come into compliance, not a $50 a day fine be imposed. The reason I say this because 1499 and 1495 are working together with 1497. 1497 is the methadone clinic. I've spoken to the property manager. She's in communication with the property owner of 1499 and 1495. So the contractors that they pull, 1497 is going to use. So when the work gets started on 1499 and 1495, 1497 will fall in line.
And when was this citation issued? The first one?
You said November.
It was 8/25/2023.
August?
Yes.
So the 14, let me get this right now. 1495, we gave 6 months. Is that correct?
Yes, and 1499. So
And that's the same parking lot.
and 1501. Yeah, so it's all the same. It's all the same area. You got 1497, 1499, 1501, and 1495.
But all you have is their word, there's nothing else, or permit, or there's nothing, I mean, don't get me wrong, but
So you've had no communication with the owner of the property?
No, not with the owner, with the property manager who's representing the property owner. So the property owner is aware because the property manager is having conversations with the property owner.
Mhm.
Didn't the gentleman that was just here say that they're not getting along with these people?
Mhm.
Well, they're not getting along. Well, which one? Talking about the doctor?
Yes.
No, so in 1501, there's 3 owners for that
Right.
particular side. They're not getting along with their 1497 is a methadone clinic that is individually owned by its own owner.
Okay, but I thought he said that the 3 people that own the
1501.
I don't know if he was referring to his other partners or other people in that building.
So 1501,
Get along.
well, so 1501 is broken up into 2 parts. The south side is owned by KNR LLC. The right side is owned by 3 individual owners. The doctor who was in here is one of the owners, and there's 2 other owners. One of the other owners is Dr. Rena, who I've had a communication with. I'm not sure who the other one is, but 1501 has their own internal issues. 1497 works well with 1499 and 1495, and they work really well with our police department.
Okay.
They've helped with the trespassing issues and the vagrancy. Also, they cut back their trees and hedges.
Okay.
so then let's require, I guess, do the same thing we did with them, but make them do monthly, I mean,
Mhm.
report, status report to the code enforcement.
That's fair.
Would someone like to make a motion?
I will. Okay, based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 23-0890, I move that this board find the respondents in violation of sections 34-19, sub 9, sub B of the Town of Code of Ordinances. Respondents shall comply with the Town Code of Ordinances on or before May 22nd of 2024. If the response failed to comply with this order in a timely fashion, a fine in the amount not to exceed $50 per day may be imposed. A fine assessment hearing will be held on May 22nd of 2024 if necessary. Respondent will be responsible to give status reports at each code enforcement meeting up to May 22nd of 2024.
Is there a second?
Second.
Further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Is there anyone opposed? Motion carries. Okay, and I think this is the last case.
Yes, at the bottom.
230968.
Correct.
Mr. Sergeant.
Yes, so case 23-0968. Property owner identified by Michael R. Sargent. Property site address is 1820 Barbados Road, Lake Clark Shores. So on 9/17/2023, officers were dispatched to the property in regards to a dog running at large off the leash. The way the town does it is your first time is a warning. The second time results in a fine. So on 9/19/2023, officers then again responded The PD case number on record will be 23-4350, and the code enforcement case number 23-0968. Because of the second offense, a fine of $75 has been assessed. I've had zero communication with Mr. Michael Sargent. I'm really done with this, so I don't know if I give a recommendation, but they haven't paid, so they're still in violation. And that's under section 6-6, dog off leash.
And how long do they have to pay the fine?
Yeah, I'm just wondering, was this a citation written
Yeah.
by the police?
No, this was a code enforcement citation. So how it works is there are certain things like if you violate the noise ordinance, I handle it and I issue a code enforcement citation.
Okay, I mean, it just seems to me somebody that has a dog off leash, I can understand them getting a citation. I don't know where that gets into a code
Yeah, that's.
with a lien on a property or, you know, a daily fine.
Isn't
Well-
that right up there with the speeding tick? I mean, that's a citation by a
Well,
police officer. so-
it falls under vegetation. So if you have vegetation out more than a couple times, there's a fine amount for that. If you have a noise violation, it goes against the ordinance. So it's a code ordinance that I cite, but certain ones, which here's a list, which if you want me to provide it to you, you can see that there are some sections that actually have fine amounts assigned to them. Would you like me to hand it to you so you guys can see it?
So you issued this on 9/19, that there was a fine.
917 for the warning and 919 for the second.
And that's when the fine is imposed,
Yes.
9/19.
Yeah, so, oh, thank you. So you'll see the first one is a normal notice of violation. The second one, because a fine is imposed, that is the big sheet. So the big sheet has all the actual fine amounts on it.
Okay, so, and they haven't paid their fine.
No, I've had zero communication.
So our responsibility would be to impose, well, the fine's already been imposed.
Yeah,
So,
the fine's imposed by I think.
Can we require them to pay the fine, or if not,
can the lien be placed on the property for this?
it's going to the books?
Yeah, well, I mean, it
It's
seems
a little
just,
unusual.
yeah, it is unusual. Seems to be. I mean, is the dog still off leash? I mean, I mean, how do we know that? You know, and all those kind of things.
So when I'm on duty and I get called out there, I usually take photos. The officers usually have their body cams going. That's why I provided you with the PD case number, because the footage could probably be pulled from there. Yeah, it's just like when there's a false alarm for the businesses. I also handle that. It's the same thing after the first false alarm. After two false alarms, then a fine amount accrues, and I also send those out, which next month I will be bringing some of those before you for the first time.
So I just need to know what our responsibility is.
I thought when I saw this on the agenda that the person was appealing you have jurisdiction to hear appeals of citations.
Like we do with the bridge arm.
Very similar,
We'll
yes.
hear an
Yeah.
appeal of the ticket.
But this is not an appeal,
Well, there's nobody here.
right?
And I don't know, you didn't appeal it, correct? It's just a new case.
Yeah, I've had
Even know that.
no communication with them.
I'm just curious, because this was in September of 19, so we mailed something, or you just posted on the door?
So, so when I'm off duty and the officers do it, what they do is they respond to the call. I issue a code violation, but I attach the PD case number on there because that is my way of approving. Because the officers physically went out there, they documented, and that case number that I give you, that goes into the police database system. So there was a case number that was generated and a report was taken.
Can we have them pay the fine by a certain time, or we can impose a daily fine? Is that something, I don't know.
I don't think so. I mean,
I think
there's
we need to continue this case.
yeah, there's a schedule, as Eric said, for, you know, having an animal at large. and it's $75 for the first offense, which she's received that. So I mean, we don't know whether this dog's large or in the house or,
Well, when the
Yeah,
officers,
but that's why we give the citation instead of, bringing them to the code enforcement.
right.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Citation seems to fit a lot better than code enforcement.
Right, but I think that, no, I don't remember because I read the code when that happened. I think there's something in the code that says, that we can bring it here if the person hasn't paid, because I can't record the lien right now.
Right. How do we handle unpaid fines?
You have to record the lien. That's the only way. It's against the property.
I think right there.
I mean, when was the last communication? Was it September 19th?
yeah, so the officers responded both the 17th and the 19th. So they brought the dog back to the property and they had a conversation with Mr. Sargent.
Okay.
Do you know what kind of dogs this is?
No, I don't. I haven't seen Mr. Sargent's dog.
He got fined. He
Well,
got met the police, so.
Well, according to social media, we have a serious
We do.
problem with dogs in this town off leash.
Yeah, so I actually
Okay.
have a spreadsheet. If you ever are interested in seeing it, I can provide it to you. I put together a list of the false alarms, the vacation rentals, and for certain certain code sections that result in these type of fines, I put together spreadsheets.
Yeah, I agree with you. In social media, we see that
Every
every
day.
day. Dogs running loose,
This is a unique
Chickens-
case for us.
chickens too.
Do we even have the right, I mean, I guess we're treating this like vegetation. Is that how, I mean,
Yeah, I mean, to me, this doesn't pertain to the property. I mean, at the bottom of the citation says, should you fail to pay the civil penalty within the time allowed or fail to appear before the code enforcement board to contest a citation, you shall be deemed to have waived your right to contest the citation, and that in such case, judgment may be entered against you for the amount of the maximum civil penalty.
why don't, if he doesn't come in,
So we have to pick it up
think
at the
that-
next meeting and impose a
Yeah.
lien.
Yeah, let us look at it. I mean, it seems to me if he received a citation,
that should be sufficient.
that would be what you get. And I mean, I don't know how
no
that,
action from us.
Could
would
we
be
like send
required.
something like now, I guess we would make a motion and basically say, if you don't get this resolved by the next meeting, which is January 24th, then there's going to be a $75 lien or whatever, and plus administrative costs. Am I correct? Emily, is that?
I don't
I
know.
think
that-
That's
I mean-
the attorney.
Well, there,
yeah, the code says the town may institute proceedings in a court of competent jurisdiction. You're not going to do that for $75
No.
to compel payment of civil penalties. If the code enforcement board finds that a violation exists and assesses a fine,
I just think this.
or if they fail to pay the applicable fine, the enforcement board may enter an order imposing the fines previously set. So
Which-
let us look at it. That may be the remedy though. Maybe you can enter an order for the $75 and get that recorded.
Go.
And then if they ever went to sell the property, it would just be found in an open permit search or a lien search, right?
Mhm. So the action tonight would be to,
I think just continue it for tonight and let us get you a better opinion
okay,
on what your options are.
okay.
yeah, Bill. So then we could also discuss too, because next month I'm going to be bringing the false alarm assessment fines. So that might also be something we can discuss.
Yeah, we can look at that. That to me attaches to the property much more than somebody having a loose dog. You know,
I would think that would be like police matter, court. I don't know, it's a fine and then it doesn't go up. I mean, I guess.
No, it does go up. After the first one is a warning, and then the second one's considered your first offense. After that, it goes to 125, 250, all the way up to 500. Because for garbage and vegetation, after your first warning, it's 125, 250, 400, 500.
But how about not paying? I mean, that's just blatantly.
And these are citations being written, though. They're not code notice of violations, right?
Well, it's the town of Lake Clark Shores code enforcement citation. So it's an actual code enforcement citation.
Right, but there's two sections under chapter 162, and there's two in town code. One is code enforcement board stuff and one's citation system.
Yeah, we can look into it that way because we want to make sure that we are fully on board.
Yeah, and we can look at that, but it would seem to me that maybe they do travel together, that if you give them citations, they don't pay it, then maybe this board can impose or enter an order that says you haven't paid it and we're going to record a lien. Maybe in either case.
So what would we be doing, order to
So
continue?
we're going to continue.
Yeah, I think in order to continue on the dog case.
All right, I'll go ahead. Based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 23-0968, I move that this board continues this matter until the code enforcement board hearing on January 24th of 2024.
Is there a
Second.
second? Deb seconds. All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. I think that's the end of our cases. Was there any
Yes, sir, it is.
comments or discussions tonight?
I have a couple of comments or questions. We talked about building permits. With our new automated system, how long does it take to get a building permit approved?
I don't know.
Does anybody have any idea? Someone had told me as recently it took a couple of months.
Well, no, it's not black and white. The problem is that new conversion that it's got to be put into the portal, a system that we no longer take actual hard copies. And that's where the time is lost. Normally, before this new program was installed or enacted, a typical window doors would be one day to the other permit application. New home, construction home, maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks at the most in review. But now with this new system, the inspector and plan reviewers look at these things, then it's got to be re-entered into the system. And sometimes there's glitches that surface, then you have to contact the programmer, how to get out of this, how to correct this and so forth. That's the problem. It's not the inspector, the plan reviewers, nor the town. It's this new system. It still has kinks in it that's trying to be worked on.
So the doctor that was here, should he find out that he doesn't have a permit for the?
Well, that's different. Yeah, that's not a big deal. They just push it and they'll look up the address and they can tell you what permits have been issued.
But what if he hasn't had a permit and he has to apply for a permit?
Mhm.
Is he gonna be 2 months away from doing that job?
Well, no, if it depends on what his permit's going to be. Are we talking parking lot?
No, we're talking roof.
Oh, the roof? Yeah, I don't see a problem, but
I think,
it's not going to be 2 months. I can assure you that. 2 months, I can maybe say if it was new construction, but as the girls keep entering this on a more daily basis, they're getting a little bit better at this. And a lot of the glitches are starting to fall by the wayside and more streamlined the process.
and how long have we had this process of no more paper,
Not very long.
And
Yeah.
No, I think it's been since mid-July. Yeah,
so
That's when we
so it's
started.
been almost, sorry,
6 months.
it's almost 6-7 months and we still don't have the bugs out of it, correct?
Correct.
How do the property owners that need to put or want to put a roof on, how do they deal with waiting 2 months? The contractors can't do anything because they can't start because they don't have the permit. How can that be expedited? What can happen?
So just so you know, for the other towns and cities that I've worked for this town in particular, our response time for the building department is significantly faster than even a medium-sized city like a Lauderhill, some of the permit applications would take months. You know, even though we're a small town and we have a small staff, our turnaround times are, in my professional opinion, from other places I've been, this is actually pretty speedy. Maybe not to some of the residents because they don't know other places.
Absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about Lake Clark Shores now,
Yeah.
not, West Palm Beach or wherever it is. My own opinion, we should be able to service our residents a lot faster.
Yeah.
Because that was the whole idea of moving into this automation stuff, is it would speed it right up. And I know there's a learning curve, I know it's there, but that curve's getting longer and longer, it seems to me. That's my opinion, I could be wrong, but
Hopefully that curve will start to lean in our favor to get the permits out in a more timely manner.
if someone had an emergency, a tree fell on their roof,
They would be allowed to do the repair work and then submit the paperwork along with the work that they're doing.
okay, all right, okay. I have another question. Do we send mail to these people that we have liens running? Like, say, oh, by the way, Jimmy Wilson, your fine is now $13,000. You're being fined at $50 a day. Send it return receipt, so we know that we've tried to tell these residents, in case they forgot, they might have slept since they figured it out, that they are still being charged. Is
Well,
there any thought about doing that?
Well, every order that is issued for every board gets physically posted to the property. So all reasonable means are made to get it there. That's per Florida statute 162. Every reasonable means is made. So by posting it to the physical property, that's even better than physically mailing it.
But if it all comes to push and shove, if we had a receipt that Mr. Lobello signed, that he was notified 6 months after the lien was posted, that he signed it, he knows that thing's running, and maybe he ought to do something about it. Maybe not, but I think that would be covering ourselves to say, we're just not letting this guy rack up hundreds of thousands in fines and come and say, oh, I didn't know that. Well, wait a minute, sir, we have your return receipt that you signed, so you knew about it. I'm only asking, maybe that's one for the attorney. But
Well, certainly you could do that. I mean, and you don't have to do it. I mean, it's not required, but you could do that as a matter of policy.
I would suggest we look at that. I mean, we're going to charge these people for our administrative costs anyway, that have these liens. Then I think it would be a good gesture on our part to let them know, remind them that this is going on. That's just my opinion. Because some of these people that, I mean, you look at, I won't mention any names, but you have a bunch of people that chopping up these huge liens. And it's just gonna be overbearing when it comes to fruition, when all of a sudden they say, oh, I gotta get that building permit. And now we have at least one person I know hasn't got a building permit for a number of months. And no action has been done. So now he applies for a building permit, and it's gonna be 2 more months what they're gonna be charged.
Hmm.
You know, see what I mean?
I would like to investigate that, because you don't know how many times I deal with residents or people that say something, and then we check it out and find out it's not true. That's why we went to body cams. I handled, I think this week, 4 different situations where people said that they didn't say certain things, and we look at the body camera and we were right and they were wrong. I've never heard of anybody, I've been here 22 years, I've never heard of anybody say that they couldn't get a building permit. It took 2 months. Usually it's a week, 2 weeks, or 3 weeks. So if you have the name, we could, management can check it to see, exactly what happened. Because sometimes people exaggerate and take things out of context.
Mhm. I understand, but I'm just saying that some contractor told me the last time they came in the Lake Lecture was 2 months before.
Well, and sometimes applications are incomplete.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
I agree. There could be other
Yeah.
factors, but, you know, that delay, that time delay just seems absurd to me.
Well, I mean,
So,
going back to what you're saying about the liens and everything, the good thing with the board is when someone does pull the permits and come into compliance, they do have the ability to reduce their fines.
oh, yeah.
So, you
But
know,
these people that have liens for 6 months,
I'm sure we have quite a few of them out there
Yeah.
and the fines are racking up substantially.
the one with the raw sewage spillover is still accruing daily fine.
Oh, wow.
Anything new with that one?
No, they own a few properties, and whether they ceased communication or just, well, actually, one of the properties heard 7133 Clark Road.
I
That
thought that was the same name. Yeah.
And seeing as we're talking about that, when I went out there today to, you know, try and talk to someone to do an inspection, I saw potentially other work going on, so I did report it to Manny. So for those particular property owners, I think they're kind of just doing what they want to do.
now like, another question is, the guy that broke the gate on Keller,
Mhm.
he lived on Terrace, just over there, in Lake Worth. We fined him $500 and he didn't come here. And has he paid that? Is that lien been put on this property or what's happened with that?
I think he paid, but I can't say for sure. I don't remember. It's been too long.
Okay. Okay. And do you know how many dollars are accumulating on a daily basis for the liens that are out there?
Yeah, I think I provided that to you a few months ago. I think you had asked me that question.
You mean per lien? Or
No,
No,
total?
no, the total,
Just
the
running
total
over,
amount. I
running
think
over.
you had asked me for that a few months
$1,000 a day.
ago, and I emailed that to you. But I don't remember what
Okay.
the amount is.
Okay. I
Sure.
guess I'm about done.
Jerry?
Yeah, I just want to bring up, Eric, how many cases, because obviously we got stuff from, now we're dealing with August. So is any way possible for all the 2023 cases to be brought up in our January meeting? Honestly, because it's kind of like 6 months later, it seems like that's a lot.
Well, in the last 2
A lot of
months,
time.
I've done hundreds of re-inspections, so my open violation pile is very small. Yeah, so, yeah, so once a week I do a mass re-inspection, gather them all together. You can actually check the monthly report, and you can see that I did I forget the total amount, but it was like 90 something re-inspections, and only 24, 25 of them were still in violation.
We have, because I did the stats on that monthly report, and that's the report that goes to the town, the manager of the town council. Our clearance on that, where they comply, is like 90%. Now, if you did your research and checked with the other cities, it would be 40, 50. So generally, we're doing pretty good here.
Yeah, because just so you know, tonight's agenda, what you have, the original one had 33. So even before it was heard, I did a pre-re-inspection, and 7 of them got closed out. So we're like, even when the notice of hearings are going out, the compliance from that is also increasing.
Right.
Because then you see tonight, what was on the agenda, only 15 were left to be heard. So we've got a very good compliance rate. The residents really seem to understand what I'm looking for. Not all of them, but the vast majority seem to really be understanding, what I'm looking for.
Good job.
Well, thank you all as well.
Anybody have anything else? I would like to wish Bill and Emily and Eric and Manny and Mr. Lobello and Chief Smith a very Merry Christmas and
Merry Christmas to you as well. Yes, and everyone on the board.
if there's no further business, we'll adjourn.
Awesome.